Like I even looked up like the director. This was his first, this was his directorial debut.
Dang, I felt bad
I was
for him.
like, oh wow, okay, that makes sense.
That makes sense.
So this film titled Mortal Kombat. Surprise, there's no Mortal Kombat. I was like, what? Like, where's the tournament? Why are they back in the hood? Like, why can't we have them like with a waterfall in the back or something? You know what I mean? Like the video game. Like, it was like.
So what you're saying is this is your favorite movie?
This is my favorite movie of all time, and I
will personally fund the next one.
Clearly, it's like.
I would like to say that Omari's review on this movie is a fatality.
It's a fatality.
Finish him.
The movie's just in. All right, welcome back to episode number 3 of What We Watching. I'm here with Gabe and Omari, as you guys might know already. A lot has happened in the last week, and we actually pushed back our shoot day so we can talk about the Oscars today. And so our first topic.
The Oscars.
What did you guys think of about the Oscars in general?
I mean,
did you like it? Like your overall feel? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Or
I'm indifferent.
Yeah,
I'm indifferent, but I mean, I like it more because it wasn't virtual. It was like, there was some
virtual, but like some sort of presence.
Yeah, and so us slowly getting away from everything having to be virtual. Mm-hmm. I like that.
Yeah, so people can start going back to the movies again, like you were talking about. Yeah. What about you, Mar? What'd you think?
Yeah, it was cool. A lot of things I expected. Most of the wins I expected. A couple I was not expecting. But overall, yeah, it was good to see. It was a little inkling of, the days to come for society, for entertainment. It's the biggest night in Hollywood, and it was good to see a room full of, some of our top creators and performers, and to celebrate it for a night. I thought that was really great. I liked how they highlighted a lot of the nominees in a more in-depth way. It surprisingly didn't really drag like they normally do the awards, even though it felt like they were there wasn't a lot of comedic stuff going on. There was no hosts, but it was overall. I thought it was all right. It was cool.
Yeah, I was kind of indifferent towards it too, but I didn't. Not that I didn't like it as much, but I was like, because in a lot of the ways they introduced like the movies, they didn't usually, or maybe they did some, because I was in and out of it because I just couldn't keep my attention on it. But usually they show you like not the trailer but highlights from the film that are like nominated, and I didn't really get that this time. So I'm like, dang, I don't know. Like I can't even tell. Hey, I want to go check this movie out later or something, or I used to be able to. But I thought it was cool. I liked Daniel Kaluuya winning in his speech. I feel like everyone's speech was kind of long this year too.
Very long.
Like everyone just was just going off and going off. I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah. And one of the guys,
music,
I think it was maybe best cinematographer or one of those categories. It was a good speech. I think he had a child that had passed during the production of their film, and he was kind of going on about it, and I was just like, oh, like I hate to say this is going a little too long, but I was like, wow, like he's really going on about this. It was beautiful, but I was like, dang, like how much time I'm like, this must be going to midnight this year, because boy, if everyone's going to get up and do like a whole thing like this, it's going to be a long show. But again, I didn't feel like it was that long, but it was interesting. It was an interesting show. Very interesting.
But it was a long show.
It was long. It was long.
It definitely was.
It was. I don't even know. Like I maybe because I kind of clicked in and out of it too. Like I wasn't necessarily fully in it either, but I did recognize it. And I was like, yeah, that was pretty long.
Yeah. So for me, I think as you mentioned, there was no host. So I think a lot of times with the host, they have them come out and obviously bring out the next people, but a lot of times they have them do stuff for filler. like to pass time along while they're getting the next thing ready. So I think because they didn't have that, they allowed for people to have longer speeches to kind of do that,
to fill that time.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So there, I mean, hosts
a lot's gone on in the past year, so I'm sure everyone has stuff they wanted to get off.
Absolutely,
Facts.
for sure. And a lot of some of these films were either completed or shot during the pandemic. Or some of these creators or performers were working through the pandemic. So yeah, it was definitely a night to just kind of recognize, like, hey, like, we made it, like, let's celebrate movies. You know, a lot of us are, you know, just happy to be here, and especially for those who won awards, it was, I'm sure, just like a, you know, some sort of full circle. For any time of the year, this is always a big moment for people who win. But I mean, I'm sure, especially this year, it was huge.
Yeah. I mean, do we want to get into? You kind of talked about Daniel.
Some winners, yeah.
Winning.
Wait, so one thing I wanted. Who was the main character, I guess, or the main actor or actress in Judas and the Black Messiah? Because both Lakeith Stanfield and Daniel Kaluuya, that's how you say his name, right?
Kaluuya.
Oh, Kaluuya.
Maybe.
Okay. Both of them were nominated as supporting actors. So who was the main one?
Yeah, who was the main? Yeah, who was the main character in the film?
Maybe it's his wife, I guess. I don't know. But
that's interesting. I mean,
is it
it's
Lakeith's
literally
character?
or maybe they just didn't have one. It's just no, because Lakeith was also nominated as a supporting.
Right, but
well,
sometimes
maybe
they kind of list them. But I'm just thinking, like,
maybe it was just like we're both the leads, so we're both supporting technically.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say maybe if they were
Yeah.
then they're because I think the film was as much about Lakeith stabbing his character, stabbing Chairman Fred in the back,
right,
as much as it was about Chairman Fred.
Yeah.
So that might be the reason why.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely would have thought he was a lead.
Yeah, but no, we have we both have a couple, or maybe I don't know if Omari's seen them, but we have Nomadland to watch, and what else?
Nomadland and The Father for sure.
Oh yeah.
And I'm hoping last year or the year before last, like I hadn't seen Parasite, and I heard people talking about it, and then the Oscars came around and Parasite pretty much like swept everything, and so then they released Parasite in theaters in America, and you could go in and watch it. And then I remember we went to go see it, and so before going to see it, I was like, all right, my expectations are high because it swept everything up, and then it beat out some really good movies, and I was not disappointed. Parasite was incredible. Yeah, it was great. It deserved every award that it got. So I'm hoping that Nomadland
like that.
and somewhat The Father, because he won best actor, best leading actor, and then they won. The Father won another award. Best Picture. Yeah. No, Nomadland won Best Picture.
Nomadland won Best Picture. And then The Father, I think, was it Best Screenplay?
Yeah, Best Original Screenplay.
Yeah, Best Adapted Screenplay. Yep. Yeah.
And then what was the short that won a lot of stuff too? I think it's on Netflix.
Mank?
Oh yeah, the short with Joey Badass.
Something About Tomorrow.
Let's see, live action short film, Two Distant Strangers.
Oh, Two Distant Strangers. Yeah.
Yeah. Produced by Kevin Durant.
A lot of athletes are stepping into that producing film.
Yeah. Interesting.
Which I love.
Yeah, why not?
We're going to get more interesting, unique stories that other people won't fund. I remember Spike Lee talking about it for years about how he couldn't get his movies funded and how like he would crowdfund, or I think his first movie that he made was based off of money that his grandmother gave him or things along that nature. So even as to why like you see him when he has a movie coming out, like he puts patches and hats and stuff and wears them everywhere. Yeah, because he originally he didn't have money for marketing like that, so he had to be like a walking billboard basically for all his stuff. So now hearing that and then seeing like a lot of athletes from similar demographics, similar backgrounds, like stepping into the producer role and like, all right, we're gonna put some money into this. It's going to help tell more stories that aren't being told.
Yeah, for sure.
Really cool group of producers on that one. Diddy's also on that little team, and then Memphis Grizzly great Mike Conley is also a producer on that project. So very interesting, very very cool. I like that.
But yeah, I mean, The Father and Nomadland were nominated in almost every category.
Yeah. And it's like when you look at the awards, it's like, yes, people were a little disappointed by some of the wins, but when you look at, okay, best adapted screenplay, The Father, and then best picture, best director going to Nomadland, it's like, then you have to give best actor and best actress to Francis and Anthony Hopkins respectively. I mean, they're only two of the greatest actors in, of all time, really. I mean, I think Frances, this is like her third Oscar. This is Anthony Hopkins' second. I mean, these are top tier all timers, Hall of Famers, you know what I mean, whatever you want to call them. They're great. So there was a little disappointment in the end, that made a little bit of Twitter buzz with the Anthony Hopkins win, especially with him not being in attendance at the awards. But at the end of the day, it's like, it's Anthony Hopkins. Like, I get it. Like, I get that W for him. Like, and I haven't seen The Father yet, but I hear that it's like, again, like I said, like with, in our last pod, just talking about actors that really just like breathe life into like the story and like make you believe what the characters are experiencing and going through. Like, Anthony Hopkins does that in spades. So, Nomadland, The Father, those are two films I definitely need to watch. The Sound of Metal, I hear, is actually really
Sound of
good.
Metal too. Yeah,
I heard that's a good one. I mean, really, all these. Promising Young Woman looks kind of wild and like zany. I literally.
I haven't seen those either. So
I have not. This is the first
list.
awards. This is the first Academy Awards. I was like, I have not watched any of these. And with Judas and the Black Messiah, I'm still debating on if I want to watch this film. I know Daniel kills this role.
They both do.
Yeah, and I know Lakeith kills it too. And I know the girl who plays the chairman's wife does well also. I hear everyone brings it. I just need to. I'm trying to get myself together to see if I can sit down and watch that one. But and then the Trial of the Chicago 7 too. I'm just trying to.
That was good too.
Yeah, I hear that.
That one's
They're
good.
Both awesome.
Can you put me onto it early? Say, hey, go watch this.
Yeah, that one was lit.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people were, they wanted Chadwick to win, so I know that had a lot to do with it. And I mean, I've seen a couple of these, but the other film that I definitely want to bring up is Soul. And we got
Soul,
some history
dope.
being made with Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
And the cast of Soul winning Best Animated Feature and Best Original Score.
Nice.
Oh, they won Best Original Score too?
Yeah.
That's
And her winning Best Original Song.
Yeah.
For a film. And I know people are talking about it. It was like, I think she's like at like four Oscars now. She doesn't have an album yet.
Oh, really?
She has not released a studio album yet. Like, pretty much, if Her's nominated, don't show up to the awards. Her's going home with the award, so just save your breath. Give her the award. And, I love her. I've been a long time fan of her since the SoundCloud days. Like, Her is so, so talented. So, folks be chatting and talking on her. She is an incredible artist, and she deserves everything that she gets. She's the first
time I heard the song, I was like, yo, this song is extra actually. And then when I saw she got nominated, I was like, oh, I don't even need to hear who else got nominated. She's definitely gonna win.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, that's what I felt about there was a song in Harriet that was like that. That I was like, that song was really good, and then Elton John ended up winning.
Right.
So I mean, you never know.
Yeah.
Common and John Legend got it when they did that Selma joint. Glory.
Glory.
When I heard that come out, I was like, okay, well, they should have like had the award in the video or something like that. That was like an automatic win. Like, I was like, oh yeah, this is perfect right here. Yeah, but I mean, that was hey, we got an award show.
Everyone who won for a reason. Yeah, just to be nominated is
exactly. And art is subjective, and these performances, particularly with and I also understand too. It's like when it comes to the nominations, the Academy is now pointedly going out of their way to diversify the nominations.
Yeah.
You know, especially in Best Actor, you had Riz Ahmed, Stephen Yeun, the first, Asian American male actor nominated for Best Actor, Chadwick, and then, you have Gary Oldman, who's another, all-time. I mean, Gary Oldman's incredible, but you hope when you see that type of slate, you hope it doesn't go to the older white male. You hope
who already has one or two.
You hope that when you see three people of color in there who are just making Chadwick was still building his resume, and Riz and Steven are they're newbies in the game in terms of top tier pictures and performing. So I think that everyone's time will come. I was very glad to see Daniel take it home. He's, one of our, best young black, young performers. So, it is what it is. It doesn't take away from, the greatness that was everyone's deliveries with these nominations. So
I want to talk about his speech. His speech was like lit, and then he just he was going on for so long. I'm like, oh, how is he gonna wrap this up? And he wrapped it up in the most hilarious, non unnecessary way possible.
Yes, bro. I was like, and his mom was like,
his mom and sister were like, wait, why
what's
did you
happening?
go that way?
Wasn't expecting that.
Did people post a meme of him being Chairman Fred and looking at the guy? And it was like when he got off stage, his mom was looking at him like that.
Yeah. It was like, who was that? What Funk when he was like, whoa, why'd you go with that lyric?
Yo,
but yeah, I think that was definitely
funny.
the highlight for me, and it came early on.
Yeah, that was funny. I didn't mind watching Glenn Close kind of throw, get her eagle on, and that was interesting with a Lil Rel there dropping it down. That was pretty funny. Lil Rel could have probably hosted that thing. I like that little portion there. That was fun. I like the beginning. I wasn't even sure. Remember, I had text you guys. I was like, "This is a weird set. What's going on here? This looks like the frames per second has been brought down. The lighting's OD. It's very cinematic. They had Regina King coming in, strutting through. I was like, wow, this is already different tonight. This is interesting.
Regina King has been batting 1,000 during the award season.
Oh yeah,
her stylist and team, they've been batting 8,000 during the award season.
Going crazy. Her and Zendaya just been at it all award season long.
That's true. I feel every award season, every Met Gala, everything. Everyone's like, all right, what's Zendaya doing?
What's she breaking? Because she's shutting it down. It doesn't matter. She don't even got to be nominated. She's showing up and she's showing out, and that was cool. Shout out to the Oscars. That was interesting. Interesting.
All right, yeah, we can move on into the next thing. Go into our movie review. Something.
The movie that probably won't be nominated for anything.
That definitely won't be nominated for everything, but has had a lot of anticipation.
I got some nominations for this thing right here. I got some.
On that, you could just go ahead then, Omari.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Speaking of interesting, Mortal Kombat 2021 brought to you by Warner Brothers Pictures. This is.
You want to intro it? Go ahead. Take it away.
This is this film right here, boy. I don't even know where to begin. First of all, I'll say I'm a very casual guy when it comes to Mortal Kombat. I'm familiar with Mortal Kombat just from being familiar with the overall cultural ethos or mythos when it comes to video games and pop culture. Everyone know, if you're into a certain brand or genre, you're gonna know about Scorpion. You're gonna know about Sub-Zero. So I was like, oh damn, Mortal Kombat, okay,
let's see what they can do with this.
You know what I mean? This is cool. Then I saw the trailer and I was like, oh, so we're gonna go like this. It was from the different action scenes that we were getting, the choreography that we were seeing in the trailer. The graphics were looking good. The effects were looking very interesting. When I was going through the comments and going through the timeline when it dropped, it looked like the fan service was coming. A lot of the true fans and people who follow Mortal Kombat and play all the games were like, oh, no, this is getting ready to be it's about to be it's ethering every single video game movie that ever happened and existed. And I was like, okay, I'm about to pop this in, so to speak, and see what we're talking about with Mortal Kombat. And boy,
What happened?
Your favorite movie of all time?
I am. that was a moment. That was a moment in time. That was. I can't get it back. I can't get it back. I can't get that moment back. Now what do you guys think? What initially? What did you?
Give your take, Gabe. Let's just intro. I mean, I guess everyone knows Mortal Kombat was originally a video game.
Right.
Was it also an arcade game at first before it went over to like consoles? I'm not sure, but I think so.
I feel like it was like Tekken and then Mortal Kombat, right next to each other at Boomers. Like I feel like they were like right next to each other, and you had your different characters that you selected.
Yeah.
And
So, like you said, I'm casual. I don't know really the story, even if there was a story behind Mortal Kombat. But yeah, based off a video game, the characters are in it, and I don't know what else.
So to me, the best way I like to explain it is Mortal Kombat is like, back then it was like an animated version of Bloodsport. So it's like a big fight, and they're inviting everyone to this island or this area to have a big fighting tournament.
Right.
That's the premise of Mortal Kombat. I mean, there's some other stuff that it goes into, and even in the movie, like Sonya Blade's character, she's explaining, what it is, and she's almost verbatim saying exactly what it would say at the intro of the video game.
Yeah.
Right.
So she's explaining what it is. So for me, as a whole, it's not rewatchable. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
It's not. I wouldn't rewatch it.
Yeah.
So I like high action. I like fighting. So there was a lot of good aspects in regards to the fighting.
Agreed.
And there was a lot of like I love Sonya Blade's character. Kano was like the comedic relief.
Yeah.
He did a good job, but I just don't think. I think that the route they chose to take to tell the story or the coming about just wasn't the most interesting route. And then I even think, as far as like the lead character, the guy who we followed, like the premise of this is like, okay, Sub-Zero shows up and he kills off. Well, he thinks he kills off the last of a certain tribe,
Right.
and it turns out that this guy had a kid and they hid the kid, and Raiden shows up, takes the kid with him, and centuries later, this guy who we're now following is a descendant of that last kid, right? So now this guy they got the most, I don't know how to say this, but they got the most like non-Asian looking guy to be a descendant of like an Asian. So to me, when I saw that, I was like, all right, he must be the best fighter. Like there has to be a reason why they went out their way to
cast him.
Right.
Versus like casting someone else who would more fit the structure of the story. But nope, he had the weaker fighting scenes.
Yeah.
So it just didn't make any sense to me.
And he was a weak fighter in the movie.
I think he's a
he was a weak fighter in the movie.
What's crazy too is I think this guy is a former or still a stunt, like he's a stunt guy, like a stunt double / stunt man, and I think he was specifically casted for that. Like he was
because of that experience.
Yeah, for his expertise. And right, like he does not like bring like any like crazy like choreography, like nothing to the character. And yeah, this main character is so flat. Like he is not bringing nothing to this movie. Like he is super uninteresting. Like most of the characters who are a part of the recruitment to be a part of Mortal Kombat, they get like these powers and they're manifesting them throughout the film. And his also too, hold on real quick, this main character is not a part of the Mortal Kombat mythology. They made him up for this film. Did you guys know that?
Nah.
He's not a Mortal Kombat character. Like this whole linkage to Scorpion as the descendant, that's not in the games. Like,
Yeah.
So that was the first thing. I'm like, okay, y'all made this character. Y'all have all these characters supposedly, and you make one up. And he's not even cool. Like
He's not even good.
He's not even cool. Like
you don't have
like the power he manifests, he gets like a breastplate and like armor, and like now he's like got like blades or something. I was like, what is this? Like, okay, I mean, I guess.
Yeah, it's like bronze, like, but also looks like mummy wrappings.
Yeah,
that can turn into different things. Which is like, all right, but
okay, but
and it's like he harnessed the power of people punching him or whatever.
And yeah, he absorbs it like he's got vibranium, like he emits it out, but it's like
I think the structure was there for the story, but like there are certain things they did, like there was some symmetry in like his ancestor got killed by Sub-Zero. The family got killed by Sub-Zero. By freezing them and him coming back to protect the family is what got him killed. He ends up receiving his powers by going back to be with his family and this thing showing up, and he's trying to protect his family, and he received his powers, and they basically say like, you get your powers by the thing that inspires you or you're the most passionate about. That's what's going to push you to get your powers. So that made sense. Even like Sub-Zero in the end, trying to freeze his family the same way he did in the past to the ancestors. That made sense. But everything else about it was just kind of like, all right, I'll give you an example. I forget the character's name, but it's the tall four-armed giant, right? In the video game, that character is literally the character you have to beat to win the game. It's like you work. Yes, you have to work your way up to beat him. So now this guy who is the weakest fighter,
he wasn't even good. Like fighting.
beats him by himself, and then literally in the next scene, he's getting beat up by a girl who just screams, and he needs help to beat her.
Yeah.
So like certain aspects of it, like that, like really just like, all right. I was discussing this with a friend earlier. I think they could have done it more justice if they followed Sonya Blade's character and just had it where they started off with like her and Jax in the military,
absolutely
doing something totally as special ops, and then having it jump to they started off in the past anyway, so having it jump to her current day and her current day and something to that mission linking them to go try to catch the guy who Kano kills, and then they witness Kano like get the emblem on his arms, and then they start doing their research and wanting to go find all the other people, and then doing it that way because now you wanted more from Kano's character because he's hilarious throughout, so you'll get more from him. She's the best fighter. Like she has the best fight scenes in the entire movie, so you'll get more of that from her, and she seems to be the most impressive out of all of them because she's doing these things originally with no powers or no, she's not chosen, quote unquote. She's doing all of this just based off of her being motivated, and then she eventually gets her powers. So I think it would have been better if they followed her character, and then even with them the way they ended it, like a cliffhanger, like they're going to get Johnny Cage, who's probably like one of the more popular characters. I don't know that people are that interested to want to see another one to even get to Johnny Cage.
That's the biggest problem with this film, and this is what a lot of these. I'm gonna have a nice. Ooh, this is gonna be good, guys. That's the biggest problem with this film. Like they are from the jump, they're setting up another film, which is the last thing you should be doing as a creator, producer, director. Never set up for something that you're not sure is going to happen. We don't know if Warner Brothers is going to want to, put the money down to create a sequel for this film. Hopefully maybe the fans and maybe with the return that they get will, make them want to do that. But like, the film paid for it in a really bad way because we get to the third act and they're just now fighting. So this film titled Mortal Kombat, surprise, there's no Mortal Kombat. I was like, what? Like, where's the tournament? Like, we're in the third act and I'm like, damn, like we're just now getting to like when it's like this person versus this person, fight. And I was like, okay, cool. And then it lasted like 10 minutes, not even. Like, there wasn't any time for those fights to breathe. Some of the characters, the background, again, like some of the stuff was not faithful to the source material, which it would have benefited from. Jax, Sonya Blade, like some of their origin stuff is not magical. Like their powers don't just come out of nowhere. Like they created them from tech, from what I've learned from some of, I mean, I was in the YouTube comments just trying to see like, what are the fans saying about this thing? And yeah, so Jax and Sonya Blade, they created their stuff, and they created Jax created his arms, Sonya has her thing. So I was like, this thing is like all over the place. Like, what is this film? And then like, I don't even know, dog. Like, it was just like weird because again, not knowing all that much about the lore of Mortal Kombat, I was just like, okay, well, what are we trying to do with this film here? Like, if you want to tell us a story about Mortal Kombat, let's do that. And then in the next film, let's go deeper. Like, you have more, right? Let's do that. But don't don't set up for something that you have not established.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I like violence in movies, so I would have been willing to forgive all of that had the fight scenes been really good.
Yeah.
Right,
but the
right.
best fight scene is the one they show in the trailer.
Yeah,
They
it is.
pretty much give you all the cool
When
stuff
When he's
in the
taking the
trailer.
blood from him and then stabs him with the,
Absolutely.
yeah, that
That's
was
the best fight scene in the whole
Absolutely.
movie. So it's kind of like, all right, well, you gave that away, so there was nothing like surprising about that when we saw it in the theater, and that's right in the beginning. So now the rest of the movie, we're like,
Yeah.
and just So I mean, like I said, it's not rewatchable for me.
Yeah, so like the way if you can put a graph like how it starts, it goes like this and then it falls like that, and then there's a big valley and then it comes back up again, and then you're like, but not high enough to be like, okay, that was a good film. It's just like, all right, the first fight scene was good. The way they introed it was cool. Like, okay, this looks like it can go a cool way. And then as soon as they introduced the main character and it was just like you said, he was flat, and it was just flat the entire time. Like, not really much going on, but a lot of like talking about like, oh, we're gonna fight, or this is gonna happen, and oh, there's usually a tournament, but we cheat all the time, so there's not actually gonna be a tournament.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then at the end, like the fight scene at the end was good, but at the same time, I don't know, it kind of is just like, this is what I waited the entire time to see, and it was okay at best. And like I think like the most interesting character was Sonya Blade and them, and I think they could have definitely gone that route, and it would have probably been a little more interesting.
Yeah, it feels like the opening sequence and the final fight scene, Kano and Sonya Blade are from a completely different film. Like the acting that they bring, the fighting, even the way that the camera work, the cinematography, the lighting, coloring, it feels like a different film. Like after that first opening scene, it feels like we've been dropped into like a B level like Power Rangers Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle moment.
You were saying that because I felt like that,
like a really really bad anime, and like it was just like weird. Like Jax like turns around when they get in the car when Sub-Zero comes, and he's just like, "You're the guy now. like you're the guy. Deal with it." It's just like, okay, like what's going on? Like there were just certain like the dialogue's so cheesy.
That middle
like,
part where they were supposed to be training and learning how to fight and like learning their skills and stuff was just like, it was just dry.
Yes,
I felt like,
bro.
Yeah.
And then they killed off I forgot what's his name. With the sombrero,
Kung Lao.
Oh yeah, Kung Lao.
Yeah, I was like,
they killed him off, and I was like, yo, he was super
was
lit.
the coolest
he
guy.
He died
they
in like
killed
the
all
least.
the cool people almost.
Yeah,
they
he
killed
died in the
Kano. They
least.
killed Kung Lao.
I feel like after Rocky, just don't have a training sequence.
Right.
If it's not,
Yeah,
if it's not
if
gonna be
it's not
like
really-
like don't waste your time.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And don't make the movie rated R if you're really not going to give us rated R. Like, we get the blood and gore, but it's only at the final moment of the death of characters. You know what I mean? Like, the fighting didn't feel like it had weight to it. Like, every time that a fight would happen,
I was like, there's no way anyone's gonna die.
Yeah, it didn't feel real. Like, none of it felt real. Even the temple itself, it felt like a really cheap set piece. It felt like you ever watched that show, that temple show on when it used to come on like Nickelodeon, like you remember Guts and like the Temple of this. Oh, you guys don't remember.
But another one that's more recent is like Temple Run.
It felt
kinda
like
felt
Temple
like
Run.
you were in
Bro.
Temple Run.
It felt like Temple
Like a
Run.
live
It
action
felt
Temple Run.
like, you know what I mean? It felt
Like the original Indiana Jones when they
Bro,
didn't have
yes.
the technology.
Bro, it felt like a line. It felt like that the temple area, that whole set piece. It felt like the line for Dueling Dragons at Universal Studios.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
it
there you
felt
go. That's
so
actually really
cheap.
that's really
and
good.
just like you knew they were running through a set. Like it didn't feel like I thought this movie was really gonna ground the source material and make it feel like you were in Mortal Kombat.
Like it's a
in
real
this
world.
thing.
Like it's possible.
Cool. Yeah, and it was just like you have all this to work with, and like you drop Kano and Sonya Blade back into the trailer park. Like what? Like where's the cool like sets and like cool like backgrounds areas that you have these characters fighting in the video games? Like why are they back in the hood? Like why can't we have them like with a waterfall in the back or something? You know what I mean? Like the video game. Like it was like.
So what you're saying is this is your favorite movie?
This is my favorite movie of all time, and I
will personally fund the next one.
clearly it's like no, but honestly, it's like I know like the timeline my Twitter timeline made a better film like in real time as everyone was watching the film. Like I was just like wow, like who, like I even looked up like the director. This was his first this was his directorial debut.
Dang, I felt bad
I was
for him.
like, oh wow, okay, that makes sense.
That makes sense.
I think the writer, it was like their second or third project. I was just like, yo, like, okay, damn, like you guys really have something here and you really fumbled the ball. And what I was saying that I was going to get to, which I'll get to now, it's just like companies, like production teams and crews and like Hasbro, DC, like what are some other companies like Sony, like stop trying to be Marvel, bro. Like you're not gonna be Marvel. Like Marvel's like Beyonce. Like the bar's so high. They brought the bar so high. There's no point in trying to make a movie verse. There's no point in trying to make like a cinematic. Make a good movie the first time. Don't rush into something that you don't know is going to happen, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you have to come into this thing and really give it. Like, you have to really, like, be loyal and honest to the source material. Like, you can't come up... You're half-assing it, bro. You can't do that, man. Like, it's not good for film. Like, it's just like, you have to really commit if you're going to do it. Like, with this source material, it's like you have all of this lore, you have all of this mythology, and you really truly
did a disservice to it. You could have done a better job.
Extract all that you can from it because you're trying to be something else. You're trying to obviously you're trying to make a sequel. Like from the opening frame, you're trying to give us multiple movies, and it's like you haven't earned that. Like Marvel's earned that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if you want that, you have to give not just the fans what they want, but you have to be honest and loyal to your source material.
Yeah, they do it. Yeah, they did it a disservice.
So
Amari came
I
here
love
with
the film.
a lot to get off his chest.
Yes, I do. It's just like for people like us that want to create and like want to make films, it's like it almost is like annoying. Like, can you like if you're gonna spend millions of dollars on this film, like make it amazing. Like you had the opportunity to make this film amazing. You promote it as a film that was gonna be amazing, and it just was like so not that. Again, it wasn't a complete L. Like I enjoyed some parts. Some of the the death scenes were kind of cool, but at the end of the day, it was like, dude, like. Another one bites the dust. Like Transformers out, Mortal Kombat out, like G.I. Joe out. Like, oh man, DC's almost out. You have a chance, DC. You're almost out of here. We about to get you out of here, but we'll see what you do with Suicide Squad. But dude, you just can't be Marvel, bro. Just don't do that. So,
do you think they should try to remake it? Just like, guys, forget what we just did. We're gonna try again.
It's like we're already here.
Yeah.
So
well, so as a person who I said like I don't know if people will be interested in seeing the second one. If they make a second one that's Johnny Cage, and they completely just overhaul everything and kind of just do like what Fast and Furious did, like after Tokyo Drift.
Yeah.
It was just like, all right, listen. that never happened. We'll figure that out later.
Yeah.
We'll tie that back in.
Later.
We'll tie that back in later. We'll figure that out later. If they do that and just kind of just completely overhaul it and then tie back in, some of the previous thing like from this, then I do think they could save it.
Yeah.
For sure. Because we still haven't gotten Mortal Kombat.
That's true. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If they
like,
promo it like we're
Opportunity's still
officially getting Mortal Kombat, they're on the island, they're fighting, you're gonna see some of these other characters, and they left room for that when they said like, oh, well, because this guy sucks people's souls out. Pause. Because he does that. Those people who die never really go away.
Yeah.
Like they
Got
got
it.
right, on that.
Right.
So he could bring
Which is
all
like,
those
okay.
characters back later on to fight
Right.
in Mortal, you know what I'm saying, in
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat. And
Yeah.
then they'll have, Johnny Cage this time, who should be a stronger character. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully they do it from the standpoint of Johnny Cage, and we following Johnny Cage in Hollywood, and then these people show up, and then we go into Mortal Kombat. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that would be, a better situation. In his younger days, Jean-Claude Van Damme would have been perfect for Johnny Cage.
I was just about to say they can really
His
nail it
younger
with
days.
a good Johnny Cage casting. I think
Yeah.
that'll definitely get some butts in seats. And so that could be interesting. I mean, since they didn't give us Mortal Kombat
Yeah,
for real, they
that's
have
what
a
I said.
great opportunity to give it to us in a possible sequel.
Gabe went to the theater, got the Gabe special
That's
Oh, yeah, I
a
saw that.
to
fact.
watch this movie,
That's
Nice.
a fact.
Nice. That's what's up.
and they
man.
blew it.
Yeah, we're getting back into it, man. We're back in those theaters, man. Summer's gonna be great.
Not gonna lie, I kind of never stopped going to the theater. But I can socially distance because a lot of times I'm the only
No
one
one
in
else
there.
is
Yeah,
there.
I
I
feel you.
so I went
which
once
I
and
love
there was-
those
there was
moments
no one
too.
in there.
So it's like, yeah, for sure. What else I got on this damn film?
He has a whole list.
Yo, he's been scrolling for 2 minutes. Omari has a novel
I be taking
know,
in his
grind
notes
like
right
it.
now.
I be taking notes. What's so
He
great
has
is
a
like
novel
it's so
in
great
his
'cause
notes right now.
I do the little speaker joint with the iPhone, so it's like I just be sitting there talking shit like, yeah, this is wild as hell. I don't know what's going on. But
He
what
did it
else?
twice.
Do
He
we have?
rehearsed.
Yeah.
He came in here and
His
he had the final product.
his notes on Mortal Kombat has a table of contents.
So the editing, I
notes-
feel like
His notes on Mortal Kombat had better writing than the movie.
I basically rewrote the script. So what happens is in the first act, now, just playing, the editing was wild. Like, again, no time for stuff to breathe. We're cutting in and out of things too quickly. I hate action films with the shaky cam all the time. Like, can we see what the characters are doing in their fights? Like, I do not like the shaky cam. That's just like, it gets very raggedy. We don't know what's happening. Again, no weight to the fighting. What else do we have?
Yeah, some of the scenes didn't seem like really good. Like they weren't choreographed well either.
Yeah, but they use the shaky cam to hide, when
yeah.
they're putting
To
in
hide.
stunts and special effects.
Right.
So so I'm going to give you an example of a person who rarely ever uses the shaky cam, and as soon as I say his name, you're going to understand why. Jackie Chan, because he doesn't need to hire a stunt double.
Yeah, he doesn't have a stunt. Yeah.
So he lets, as you say, lets the fight scene breathe, where he'll put something on sticks and just let it shoot in this direction for 10 minutes and just have him fighting this person, jumping down off this, fighting this person, going back up. So that fight scene gets to breathe, because it doesn't matter what angle you see this from, it's still going to be Jackie Chan. Where in these situations, they have these stunt doubles coming in or whatever, and they have to hide that in the cut. So it does make it easier to hide in the cuts with the shaky cam. But I think that if there was more of a build up to the fights, then that wouldn't matter. Being that you're cutting from shaky cam to shaky cam to shaky cam to shaky cam, I feel like it gets overwhelming. But if they build up the fights, and then you got a fight scene, and then they build up the fight, and then you got a fight scene, and then then the shaky cam wouldn't bother you as much, because they're kind of building up that anticipation, and then when the fight gets hectic, the cam gets hectic. You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I agree with you, but I understand why they do the shaky cam. I just think that because they didn't do a good job of building up the fights.
Yeah.
again, what build up the fights and anticipation and the other ones is the idea of a Mortal Kombat. You get to see, okay, this person is fighting this person and they throw this guy off the island in the middle of a fight. Okay, you understand this is a scary person. So later on, when the lead character builds his way up to fight that person, you're going to be okay with it being a shaky cam because you yourself are going to be like, okay, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? But we never got that.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
So should we go on to our ratings? Because I feel like Omari, he still has 3 more chapters in his notes.
Yeah, let's just go to the ratings. We'll continue on.
We'll start with the hot take. So Omari, what would you rate this amazing film?
Man, I'll give it a C. I'll give it a C. You know, it's like,
Wait, on a scale of 1 to 10?
1 to 10, yeah.
oh, sorry. What's a C in number version? I'll give it a.
That's a 7 though.
No, I'll give it like a. I don't want to give it a 5. I'll give it a 6.
A 6?
I'll give it a 6. Like,
way higher than I thought you were.
Yeah, that's definitely.
it's
what
just
I
like,
thought.
you know, the reaction that I saw from fans. It's like they're happy. It looks like a lot of the fan base is happy, which I guess, you know, when you release a film like this, you want it to, you know, be appealing to a mass audience. But if the fan base enjoyed it, I mean, shoot, they know it better than I do. And, you know, going back and looking at some reviews from people who know the material, they seem to have hit some points that they agree with. They like some of the fan service, and, you know, I guess they paid that forward to them. You know, as a film, though, yeah, I don't know what to tell you.
Okay, so as a film, what do you have it rated as?
I mean, as a film, yeah, I mean, it's going to go down to like a 5. I mean, if you want to meet in the middle at a 5.5, let's do that. Or if I give it a 4 as a film and a 6 as just like a whatever popcorn flick, then I'll just give it a straight up 5.
Yeah.
And meet in the middle,
So that's actually where I'm at with it. I'm like a 5.5. For me, once you get to a 7, it means that I will rewatch it because I enjoyed it enough to rewatch it.
Fair.
A 6 to me is I'll rewatch it to give it another chance.
Yeah.
I'm not rewatching this.
You're not ready?
Yeah, nah.
Yeah,
So I go 5.5.
Yeah, I'm in the 4 or 5 area just because like it almost felt like a chore to continue watching it. Like I don't know if like obviously I wanted to see what happened at the end of it. Like that was all of my motivation. Like all right, let's see how this ends or where this ends up going, because it started out cool, dead in the middle, and then at the end, okay, it's kind of cool. And now they're like, all right, we're giving you breadcrumbs. Like we're gonna try to do this again. Hopefully they do it better. like you were saying, Omari. But yeah, I would say just say 4.5 just to.
Yeah, see, the thing that made me give it that 5.5 because I knew based off of a little bit of foreshadowing of them saying like Kano got his mark by killing someone else who had the mark.
Yeah.
And Sonya Blaze didn't have the mark. She wasn't chosen.
Right.
I knew that the only way she was going to get her mark was by killing someone with the mark. So that to me kept me engaged enough where I was like, all right, I want to see how she ends up getting her mark. And, you know, everything else, I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't really care that much about it. I didn't really care what his power was going to be.
Yeah.
As soon as I knew Jax, I knew what his power was going to be. I didn't really care what the new character power was going to be, if that is a power that he has. Like it just seems like it's a suit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a I can't even imagine or compare it to anyone. But yeah, like that. Also, the Sonya Blade character, I was also wondering, all right, when is she gonna get her powers or whatever. But yeah, especially probably lower for me because I'm not the biggest fan of Mortal Kombat in general. But I still was like excited to watch it. I was expecting like something good. But yeah,
I mean, the goal of the film should have been to invite more people into being interested in Mortal Kombat. You know what I mean? Like. I think one of the things that drew me towards, you know, even knowing what Mortal Kombat was the, you know, just the designs of the characters. Like Scorpion and Sub-Zero always look super dope. Like they always look cool. And the costume designing for the two characters, it was like, like they look a little clunky. Like they had to like physically take their masks off. So I was like, okay, wait, you couldn't do like effects to like just like
it's COVID out here, bro.
Yeah, I guess so, right? Like. mask up. But I was just like, bro, like, what did y'all spend money on? Like, what part of the film did you really invest in to really get this thing off the ground?
I actually enjoyed that aspect of it.
You like the part when they
So
took the mask
yeah,
off?
I'm gonna tell you why. So a part of what made, like, as we've discussed before, I'm not the biggest sci-fi guy. So when certain things and the reason is because I'll watch a film and I'll be engaged in the storyline, which wasn't the case with this film, but I'll be engaged in the storyline, and something super sci-fi-ish will happen, and it'll remind me like, oh, this is a movie,
Right,
and it'll take me out of the story.
That's
and so
fair.
sometimes it's so excessive that it takes me out of the story and reminds me that it's a movie. So like, as an example, this is why I liked the Batman trilogy, because I feel like Christopher Nolan did a good job of making it where like
Grounding it.
and making it where like, all right, this is this person's power, but I could see this happening in real life. You get what I'm saying? So like, is Catwoman really walking around in the middle of the day in a black leather suit? Is she really, you know what I'm saying? Okay, no, let's take Batman to a masquerade ball, and she has on this mask that has, you know, ears at the top that kind of resembles the Catwoman. I like that type of stuff to where it makes it feel more realistic, more like, okay, you can see this happening in your everyday thing. So obviously with their powers and stuff, you're not going to be able to see that. Yeah. But I like the idea of like, okay, this mask is something that they're taking on and off. They made that part, to me, they made it seem realistic. How you were talking about like Jax creates his arms. If they had done that versus just allowing him to magically get the power for it, it would have made it more realistic for me. You get what I'm saying? So certain things, like I think that's probably why I like Johnny Cage's character. Like, you know, what's his power?
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So certain things, like, all right, I understood it and I liked it because it wasn't heavy sci-fi-ish, but that also means that you save money there, so you could apply it other places like the sets, the backgrounds, etc.
Yep. Yeah.
The way that everyone got their powers was kind of weird. It was like and kind of anticlimactic too.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like all of a sudden, like, oh, they're here, and just I have bigger arms now.
I think it's called the
You could have just made the guy's arms bigger from the jump.
Yeah, Kano Arcana, which also, again, another thing I learned is also not a part of the source material. Like again, like I said with Jax and Sonya, they created those things. Like no character ever came into Mortal Kombat lore like having to manifest their powers or bring their powers about through their emotions or their anger, like Kano did with his
he
laser.
got his powers by an argument.
Yeah,
by having it was like, whatever you're most passionate about is what's going to get you your powers.
Yeah.
And he was most passionate about them telling him he was stupid and soft.
Yeah.
Like getting in a dinner argument got you your powers.
I'm like, Kano, like,
and it was just like at the end of it was just like a joke, like, we just tricked you into getting your powers. Like, about to make you real angry, Gabe.
Yeah, so if that was
Omari,
the case, what's all this training?
Yeah, I'm about to shoot something out my eyeballs right now. Yeah, I mean, but Kano was cool though. He brought a lot of comic relief. A lot of his jokes landed. He was a great actor. I don't even.
That's
know
why I
his
said
name.
we could have gotten more from his character.
Shout out to him, Josh Lawson. He was dope. I liked you, Josh. Who else was cool? Kung Lao was cool. Probably the best death in the film. Yeah. Kung Lao slicing Nitari, I think it is, in half with his his blade / sombrero. What do you want to call that thing? That was the first thing in the film. I was like, oh, like this is what this film could have been. Like this is okay. That's Mortal Kombat. That's what I remember. That was like the first part of the film. I was like, oh, okay, now we're getting busy. I like that. Can we get some more of that? So, Mortal Kombat. Wow. Okay, Warner Brothers. What's the next thing that's coming on HBO Max? Warner Brothers.
Mortal Kombat 2.
Mortal Kombat 2.
Lord, please.
Sign Omari up.
Literally sign me up. I will write that thing for you, Warner Brothers. Please.
Hire me, please.
Literally hire me. Like that thing.
I will write it off of YouTube comments. It'll be way better.
Literally. Like YouTube comments and Twitter replies. That's me right there. But no, what is up next on the HBO Max slate? They got a lot of stuff that's supposed to be coming that needs to be blowing our minds. Like,
I know Space Jam is somewhere in the near future.
That's
it makes me weary.
That's a movie I think is going to be like this. Like they showed us all the best parts already.
Now, the good thing that's going to be on Space Jam side is LeBron, you know, he is very charismatic. I think that might be the one thing. I liked him in the Amy Schumer flick. Did you guys see him in that?
Mm-mm.
And what was the name of that one? I forgot, but it's with him, Amy Schumer, my other guy from SNL, Bill Hader. Pretty cool. He was interesting in that. But yeah, bro, HBO Max. Oh, I think Dune's coming.
Yeah,
We're getting Dune.
the Space Jam, the Conjuring,
Dune is them.
Okay,
the
the
Suicide
Conjuring.
Squad.
Suicide Squad.
Dune, I'm excited for.
Dune looks interesting. I don't know. Warner Brothers. I don't know. It's just like
They gave us Judas and the Black Messiah though, so you got to watch that.
You got to take the good with the bad.
Yeah. Okay. Bro, I think we rated them all. Any final thoughts?
Final thoughts. What do you guys think?
I would like to say that Omari's review on this movie is a fatality.
It's a fatality.
Finish him.
The movie's just saying
like they should have really banked in on that, bro. Like there's so much cool stuff.
They said fatality once.
Yes,
like
bro.
it was like.
Isn't that's what you call it too, right? Finish him. That's
you do
a part
like
of
the special finish.
Yeah,
movie,
that's a part of this too. Oh man, this thing could have really. Oh man, but that's good. Fatality for sure. Yeah, I like that.
All right, it's been episode number 3 of What We Watching.
Yeah.